Welcome to Dr. Carol's Couch with your host, Dr. Carol Lieberman. All comments, views, and opinions are solely those of Dr. Lieberman, her guests, and callers. Now it's time to have a seat on Dr. Carol's Couch. Here's your host, Dr. Carol Lieberman.
And welcome to today's edition of Dr. Carol's Couch. I'm your psychiatrist host, Dr. Carol Lieberman. Today we're going to be talking about, and I'm wondering, Jordan, if you can get if I'm on camera. I guess I am because there's a green thing. Okay, I'm getting a little distracted here. All right, today we're going to be having an incredibly important show. I'm sure you're all sort of sensing that 9/11 is coming, the anniversary, the 25th anniversary. And our country each year during these 25 years has forgotten about it more and more. And today's show is going to tell you why no one in America should forget. So it's called Why Mamdani Must Not Show His Face at Ground Zero on 9/11. There are many reasons why Mayor Mamdani should not dare attend the 9/11 ceremony at Ground Zero, especially not this year, the 25th anniversary. This is the day that changed America. One reason for Mamdani not showing up, or said he shouldn't show up, is because he's a terrorist sympathizer. So it would be hypocritical for him to attend this ceremony. Another reason is that over 90,000 Americans have signed the petition begun by today's guest, Giovanni Galante, who lost his wife on 9/11, and his collaborator, Walter Matsuka, who lost his father on 9/11, and then his eyesight from the stress. We also have Jeanette Puccio, who lost her father on 9/11. And these, it was Giovanni's brainchild to start a petition because Mamdani wouldn't just bow out gracefully. So now we have over 90,000 people who are saying the same thing, to not show your face at Ground Zero. Now, another reason why he shouldn't show up is because there's going to clearly be a brawl if he does, especially now that people know that he's been asked not to show up. But I can't imagine him walking into the ceremony, the solemn ceremony. I'm sure you've probably watched it. And just saying, hi, I'm Mayor Mamdani. So you will hear more reasons during this show for why he shouldn't show up. Let's start today, and let me actually, let me start by introducing my guests and hearing their story. Let's start at first with their story of 9/11, their personal story. So, Giovanni, why don't you take it away?
Sure. Thank you for having us on the show, Carol. I'd like to start by saying, I did start the petition. I didn't start it, I don't want to say by myself, but with other family members that really thought this was an important fact to bring up, and hopefully we can get him to stay home, but we don't know what's going to happen. It's personal to me, obviously, because I lost my wife. She was one of 3,000 people murdered that day. Our ask is simple. We don't want any craziness. The 25th anniversary is a day of peace for us. We are focused on honoring the victims and us, the survivors. We just want it to be a peaceful day of prayer for us, like it is every year, where we don't have to explain why we don't want someone to come into an anniversary or a ceremony that belongs to us. I don't think it's fair that they ask why we don't want them there. If we don't want you there, it should just be understood, and we should go on with our day of peace. Simple.
That's true. If he would have just accepted that from the first minute that he heard about your petition and heard about all the people who didn't want him to be there, if he would have just said, okay, I get it, I'm staying home. You have my sympathies or condolences, or I'll put out a statement. But right. Instead, he's made this whole thing explode by continuing to refuse.
Yes. And if we can have Jeanette speak about it, because she's great with numbers and terms and dates. Mm-hmm. And she could actually tell us about the position that he put himself in by not attending some of the other ceremonies that he was invited to. This one that he's not invited to, obviously he wants to make it a point and be there. So Jeanette, tell him the dates of those other ceremonies that he was invited to.
Okay, so I believe it was June 2026, he was invited to the Israeli Day Parade, but he said due to his personal and political beliefs, he's not going to attend. In May of 2026, he was invited to the Met Gala, but he decided not to come because, again, he said his personal political beliefs. And a few weeks ago, one of the 1993, the February 1993 bombings that killed 6 people at the World Trade Center due to the truck bombing. I believe one of the victims' nephews came out and said, we invited Mamdani, but he didn't show up. So we just don't understand that he doesn't go to these high profile events he's invited to that he's invited to. And he asked the New Yorkers to respect his decision, but he's not respecting our decision to not to come to ours. And I find it ironic that he was invited to the 1993 ceremony, but he didn't go because he decided to go to a meeting with President Trump instead. But he wants to come to ours, but he's not invited. So I just find it very hypocritical that he can pick and choose what he wants to go to, even with an invitation, and he doesn't show up, but he wants to come to ours, and he's clearly not wanted there. And us and 93,000 others agree.
It's up to 93,000 now, huh?
Yeah. 93,052.
We hope to hit 100,000 by Friday, and if we could just tell your audience to go to the change.org/9/11 ceremonies, a shortcut to get to the petition, so everyone could sign it. So
yes,
I'm hoping that your audience will go on and sign.
Yes. Now, could you say that again? Change.org/9/11 ceremony. Okay. Yes, absolutely. So, Jeanette, tell us about your father and tell us about what that day was like for you.
So my father's name was Joseph Pick. He worked for Fiduciary Trust. He worked on the 94th floor. He was last seen on the 78th floor. I was 9 years old and I went to school in Hoboken. And when the first plane got hit at, I believe it was 8:46. And my teacher came into the classroom and said, the Twin Towers have just been bombed. I jumped up and said, my daddy works there, because we could also see the skyline. They brought us into the kindergarten classroom, which was the biggest classroom, and they put it on TV. So then when the South Tower, my dad's tower, got hit at 9:03, I saw it outside the window as well as on TV in front of me. So that day was hell. It was the worst day of my life.
What did they say to you when you said my daddy works in that building?
Nobody knew what to say. They just kind of gathered us into the kindergarten classroom, and I just remember shaking and kind of rocking back and forth and crying the whole time because I was only 9 years old. I couldn't, like, what's the word, like, mentally process, have the emotional regulation and processing to understand what was going on around me.
Yes.
And it was really hard. And for a few days after, my mom put out missing posters, and a lot of family came over to help and, call hospitals. And I was under the, I kind of had like wishful thinking. I was like, maybe my daddy's stumbling around somewhere in a coma and forgot about, like that was the wish. But then a few weeks later, I had to go to the nurse's office to give DNA.
Oh, wow.
And they framed it, and I was like, oh, what's this for? And they said, oh, it's for all the students. It's fine. And then but my mom was there. I said, oh, mommy, why are you here? She goes, oh, I'm gonna take you to get a Happy Meal. And then I had always been a fan of Robert Stack's Unsolved Mysteries from the 90s. So I said, are you guys taking DNA? And my mom was like, I'll get you large fries, just do it. And I was like, okay. They found my father in October of 2001. He was identified. They found 6 pieces of him, including his elbow and part of his knee.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss, both of you, actually. And let's hear from Walter now.
Yeah, so my name is Walter Matuza. My dad's name is Walter A. Matuza Jr. So I was having headaches for a long time, really bad migraines and everything. I was going for an MRI that day, and my mom got a call from my dad. Oh, the towers, there was explosion, so we're all evacuating. He made a phone call a few minutes after it happened. He was going down the stairs apparently, and all he could care about was whether I was going for my test and that my mom was okay. And he wasn't worried about himself, and he was just in a rush with the crowd. I went for my MRI. I don't know if I went back to school that day or not. I'm pretty sure I didn't. But all I have imprinted in my head is that image of the flames billowing out of the towers, on the big screen TV that they had in the office where they did the MRI. And
Mm.
that day was, I don't know. I feel like, I hate to say this, I feel like I blocked out a lot of memories and a lot of things from around that time of my life. And I know that's something that can happen and does happen to people around traumatic events.
Mm-hmm.
I wound up losing my vision 5 months later in February of 2002, due to stress from the traumatic events. It's I'm considered legally blind, and that's where I'm at.
Yes, and I interpreted that for you before, that it was a psychological reaction that you didn't want to see what had happened.
Yeah, and whenever in the nowadays I don't do it, but around that time and a little bit afterwards, I would be so upset when people would bring up 9/11 or anything to do with it. I would hold my eyes like this and I'd push, and I would be just I didn't want to see, but I would also do this, would stick my thumbs in my ears, and I didn't want to hear or see anything that was going on around that matter.
And you were how old again?
I was the same age as Jeanette. I was 9, just about to turn 10. My birthday is September 26th, and it just happened right before my birthday, and I was so upset. I didn't know where my dad was for my birthday, and we found out, I think maybe 2 weeks later, that they found him.
Oh, it's all tragic.
And he wasn't even supposed to go to work that day. He was just going in to pick up a projector and a few other things for a baseball awards ceremony for my little league. He was the coach, a fisherman, and he did all of that stuff for our baseball team.
Yes, that's really, really tragic. All right, Giovanni, let's come back to you. Tell us about that day. I know you said you lost your wife, but what was 9/11 itself like for you?
So that day was a horrific day for me. I witnessed the whole thing. I worked in Manhattan at that point. I worked for Con Ed at that time. And our transformers is one of the first things that indicates to us. I was in electric engineering department, where my boss came over to me and told me, listen, we just found out that the transformers at the trade center went down. I know your wife works there. You might want to go, see what's going on. That first train that came, I got on. I was the last one at the stop for Fulton. After that, no other train passed by for that time period on to to the catastrophe. I went out looking for, trying to get to the building. As we all know, in '93 it happened as well. My wife survived that one, but she did not come home until way past 2 a.m. The next morning. So we were kind of hoping that she was somewhere, but obviously, at this point, when both buildings fell and we had no indication of her calling any one of us, because she'd be the first to call me, her sister, her parents, my sister, she'd reach out no matter how or what, she'd get in touch. But that day was just waiting and waiting, and nothing came of it. Obviously, trying to get to the building, the cops that did stop me, and they said that I was not allowed to pass that border where they were holding people back from. And as I asked, I said, hey, my wife was here in 93. I really want to make sure she's okay, and maybe she's somewhere out here that I can find her and, help her out. They're like, well, you can't because another plane is coming. And that's when,
God.
my face, my whole body just went shut down and said, what? Like, I couldn't believe that 2 officers knew another plane was coming. And within seconds, the roaring sound above me, right into the second building. And from that point on, we all know time frames of what happened, and people running. Obviously, we all ran the other direction once the first building fell, because you just couldn't go towards it. It was impossible. As much as you wanted to get to that other side, you couldn't. It was I almost felt like I was in a movie scene. That's how, just it felt surreal.
Yes.
And it was a tough day, and it's still, tough to think about. And I come to this conclusion where we don't understand today's kids that don't know what really happened. Most people, they look at these pictures and they think they're AI, and it kind of makes me want to put my hands on the screen
That's a
and
good
just bang
point.
their head on the. Yeah. They just don't. I had one person say, "Oh, this is AI." I'm like, AI. I'm like, this was way before AI, and this is reality. And if people don't learn this in school or their parents or wherever they need to learn it, it's going to be, an awful place to live if we keep going in this direction.
Yeah. Yes. And as the years go by, of course, there are more and more people who were not born yet. And it doesn't, it doesn't have the same impact, because I'm sure like Pearl Harbor, for example. I studied Pearl Harbor in school, and I even visited Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, but I was not around.
Well,
I mean,
Pearl Harbor happened December 7th, 1941.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I can understand how it doesn't really mean, I can't connect to it, And so I can understand how people who weren't born by 9/11 can't connect to it, not in the way that people who were alive on that day can.
Right. And it's understandable, but if you don't look back in it in history class and it's not taught, you're never going to remember it. And if you wait 20 years or 50 years to establish someone to understand it, which it's not going to happen as easily. So if it's a yearly or something taught in school at a yearly basis, because we are at 25 years. Yes, it's 25 years, but it's not really a long time, but it is. For people that were not born that day. And it's understandable, but you still should know, especially if you live in New York, and what kind of transformation it made to the world and New York City and the people that lost, especially.
And we're going to be talking about that in the next segment. So we have to take a break now. I want to give out the address again for the petition. It's change.org/9/11 ceremony.
That's it.
And
wait, I'm holding it up. It's on blur though.
Okay, there we go. Okay. And I'm going to put it on the description of this show, so it'll be there to connect in connection with this show too. All right, so we have to take a break. We will be right back, and we will talk more about the importance of never forgetting, right? Those aren't just words, it isn't just a slogan. So stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Dr. Carol's Couch. Now back to the show. Here's Dr. Carole Lieberman.
And welcome back to Dr. Carol's Couch. I'm your psychiatrist host, Dr. Carole Lieberman. We're talking today about why Mamdani, the mayor of New York, why Mamdani must not show his face at Ground Zero on 9/11. As I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of reasons why. First of all, he's a terrorist sympathizer. He was cheering, one of the terrorists who was cheering on 9/11. And also because there is a petition which is now up to 93,000 signatures, people who don't want him to show up, mostly families of the victims of 9/11, but we'll hear about the other kinds of people who signed it as well. But 93,000, that's a lot of people. My guests are Giovanni Galante, who started the petition, Walter Matsuka, and Giovanni, who lost his wife on 9/11, Walter Matsuka, who lost his father and who also lost his eyesight because of the trauma, and Jeanette Puccio-Pick, who lost her father as well. And each of these stories, they're each different and they're each heartbreaking. And people cannot forget, should not forget what 9/11. Now, each year, it has the recognition of 9/11. The commemoration has become smaller and smaller and smaller. Fewer media outlets put something about 9/11 on. There's fewer notices in the newspaper. I mean, all kinds of media don't give it as much attention. Also, it's in the schools. Yes, this is a big problem. The schools where there are lots of woke teachers, shall we say, don't want to talk about 9/11, don't want to acknowledge it, don't want people to remember it, to feel sad about it. It's really devastating. It's really shocking, first of all, when I started learning about that, because each year, let me just tell you my connection to this. 9/11 changed my life, not in as grave a way as yours, but I'm talking to my guests, obviously their life was changed in a very devastating kind of way. But when 9/11 happened, first of all, I'm a New Yorker born and bred. But when 9/11 happened, I was already living in California. And but my heart was and still is in New York. It'll always be in New York. And so I asked myself, what can I do? I had this feeling. Now, I didn't know anything about terrorism when 9/11 happened. I mean, I admit it, nothing. I thought that was one of the topics I didn't have to know about. But I just had this sense that terrorism was going to be the biggest threat in our lives. And so I asked myself, what could I do to help people with this? And, I'm a psychiatrist, I'm a media personality, I'm an author. How can I use my skills to help people with the trauma and with the ongoing, it's not just going to be 9/11, it hasn't just been 9/11, it's an ongoing problem. What can I do to help? And so that's when I decided to become the terrorist therapist, which I trademarked. And I have been helping people, of course, in America first after 9/11, then in London after 7/7, which was their 9/11, and the Manchester in the UK, Paris, they had their huge terror attack. And then I've been to Israel after 10/7, and I've been helping people there too. And I continue to help Israelis through Zoom. So, and I've written 2 books on terrorism. The most recent one is called Lions and Tigers and Terrorists, Oh My, How to Protect Your Child in a Time of Terror. So I have been, devoted to this. And, one of the most important things that is, and I host a podcast called The Terrorist Therapist Show. And at the beginning, it was more about, helping people with the trauma and so on. It's still about that whenever there's a new attack. But it's also about warning people that it's not one and done. 9/11 wasn't it, or even 10/7 wasn't it. The terrorists for 1,000 years have planned to take over the West. And they've already taken over Europe. It's just shocking, and it's so frustrating because people in America are in denial, and they don't don't realize how much in danger they are. And so every year, I don't know if any of you saw this, but did you ever, in the last 25 years, well, I did it for the last 5 years. In the last 5 years, did you happen to see a mobile billboard, a truck going around New York City, Manhattan, with video about 9/11 and about terrorism and so on?
I did.
Did you?
I did. Yeah, I did.
That's me. That was me. That was I. I have been doing
I did
this.
not, obviously.
What?
I said I did not, obviously.
Okay. Well,
I
it's big.
actively avoid it.
It was really big. And because I have felt strongly about the people forgetting, and people forgetting both 9/11 and people forgetting that this is a major problem, the worst problem in our lives. So I'm going to be doing another music video this year as well. So I have been dedicated to this, and you have my heart. And I also have been dedicated, before I even knew about your petition, to warning people before he was elected, and then telling people what a mistake they made after he was elected about Mamdani. How people, in the video that I'm doing for this year is a comparison of what the world was like, what New York was like, America was like on 9/11, and what it's like today. And so things like showing that we now have essentially a terrorist. I know you're not supposed to say that. I'm Islamophobic, supposedly, but a terrorist mayor, and all these things that we're doing around America, letting all these people in to begin with, through the border, and all the danger that we're in, having the call to prayer play in New York City. In New York City, where 9/11 happened, and other cities too, Dearborn, Michigan. There are other cities in America where this play, and it's not about, being Islamophobic. It's about really telling, and of course, as I always have to say on my podcast, not all Muslims are terrorists, and not all terrorists are Muslim. Be that as it may, we are just committing, it's suicidal empathy. We are empathizing so much that we are bringing more death on ourselves. So that's my story.
No, it's not Islamophobic, it's the truth.
Right.
Do you want to
people,
continue?
the people, go ahead, Walter. Tell them what you were going to say. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
It's not Islamophobic, it's the truth. It's incredibly disrespectful for Mayor Mamdani to show up to the place where he is not welcome, to a place where he has sympathy for and allegiance with people who have connection to terrorism. And I really don't want him. If Mayor Mamdani is listening right now, I am asking you not to show up. This bothers me to my core that if he's going to be there, and especially that he wants to speak. He said something about that. That's disturbing.
Ew.
Now that would be more of an insult to us, of course, but no one's ever spoken at the 9/11 ceremony, so I don't know why people are saying that. I think they're just throwing some stuff out there and trying to see, how people react to it. I don't think
no one spoke, like not even the president. I mean, I usually watch it, but I didn't remember.
No one's ever spoken.
It's about the families and the memories of people.
Right. The only people that speak are the people that say the names, the people that, say the names every year, and whoever it is up there that, wants to say it's my uncle or my father or my mother or my aunt or whoever it is passed away that day. But, we hate to say the words lost, because we didn't really lose anyone. They murdered our family members is what they did. And, it's a big slap in the face if he does show up. Obviously, If he cares enough.
What do you think?
he
What do
would
you
just-
think would happen if he showed up?
Well, he would try to sympathize with some of the family members and try to talk to them and shake their hand. But obviously, I would never shake his hand, or I would not talk to him because I don't need to talk to him. There's nothing that I need from him that can help me. What I would need is him to stay home, and that's it. It's the final answer is I'm taking the day off for me. That's what he should do. It's not about anything. His smile, his support. We don't need it. Because if you support behind doors the people that did this and you are friendly with those, I mean, his own father wrote a book about it, so I don't have to say any more than that. So if you can't be one person to the public and then behind closed doors say, hey, you know what, I really don't like you, I want to kill you. You know, I don't know what he says behind closed doors, but that's what it seems like.
And
I'm not
his wife is even worse. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
My reasonings for it is because who he associates with personally, professionally, and politically. He's friends with Hassan Piker, who said in 2019 that America deserved 9/11, and then on July 13th, 2026, had during a live broadcast of his podcast, had a framed 9/12/2001 newspaper behind him of the towers being hit. And then in June of 2026, his endorsement for Senate of Abir Koa, who back in 2017 said that 9/11 was just something a couple of people did, minimizing it, saying it was due to white supremacy and Islamophobia. And then professionally, on January 1st, 2026, he hired Ramzi Kasim, an ex-Al-Qaeda lawyer, to his personal chief counsel as mayor. Those are my reasonings. This has nothing to do with politics or religion for me. It's about protecting our peace and the dignity of our loved ones at their resting place for the 25th anniversary.
Thank you, Jeanette.
So I'm really good with numbers. Like, you can ask Giovanni. Like, I'm just really good with numbers.
That's why I said, Carol, we need Jeanette on because she's good with numbers.
Yes.
I don't remember dates as well as her.
Like, I could tell you, like World War II was like from September 1st, 1939 to September 2nd, 1945. I'm really good with like tragic dates. I don't know why.
That's important. That's good.
I don't know why. I just remember stuff.
What what's the most recent reaction that you have heard or seen in the news or something from Mamdani?
Peaceful Tomorrows, who's a 9/11 group that was started in 2016, that was funded by a Soros group that I believe they made 500,000 plus. They're against us. It's run by someone named Elizabeth Miller. And listen, I think this is America. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. They think that he should have the right to be there. They're made up of a group of 250 family members, I believe.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. We don't have the right numbers.
Well, that's what they said. That's what it said on Google. That's what they said on Sid Rosenberg.
Wait a minute, 250, wait. 250 families from the 9/11, families of the victims of 9/11, they're saying?
No.
They're saying that 250 people are part of the organization that are family members. But if there's probably 5 people, I would be surprised. The other thing is she said 500,000. That was the number, that was the money that was given to support that petition. So he paid those people, whoever they are.
No, it's
and
not
I don't want to say family.
He paid them since 2016 to keep Peaceful Tomorrows going.
Right. So $500,000, not 500,000 people signed on to it, but $500,000 was given to that group to keep
500,000 plus
going.
Okay, wait. What is the group called?
It's called Peaceful Tomorrows. They think that Mamdani should be there. And look, that's their right. I have nothing against them. If they want him there, that's up to them. But we, myself, Walter, Giovanni, and the other family members who have signed, and the 93,000 others who have signed, don't want him there.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Jeanette.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm really good with stats. I don't know why.
But the last thing is that the latest news is that he's saying that he is going to come.
He said that in late July when he was asked by a CBS reporter.
And there's been nothing since then. I wonder if maybe
we haven't heard anything since then.
And I've been Googling every morning. I told Giovanni I sent him updates.
She's my
Okay.
numbers gal. See, she's very good with numbers and
Yes.
facts.
Even though I
Okay.
can't add math, I'm like really bad at math though. Like I didn't
Don't
got
tell
out of it in
don't tell
college and
anybody.
high
Keep that
school.
to yourself. Don't tell anybody.
Sorry. No, I'm good at I can remember. I just can't like add.
So tell us about what you're doing on September 8th.
So
Giovanni?
on September 8th, we're having a press conference in front of City Hall at 12 o'clock. We'll have many of the family members there holding signs. We hope to have as much press as possible to show, what we're looking to accomplish, which is for him to stay home. And if any family members that watch your show or listen to you, they can reach out to me, WTC1-91101 at
Wait a second.
AOL.com.
Wait. Say that again.
I'll say it again. WTC1-91101 at AOL.com. The family members could reach out to me and I can give them the information to get their their loved one's photo printed for that day. So as many people that want to come can come. We'll be on the steps of City Hall. I appreciate the news getting out there and hopefully we can get a big crowd.
I'm trying to show a picture of it. God damn it.
Yes. Yes.
I'll send it to you, Carol.
Yeah, the
Yes,
floor
you've
thing
been-
is not working.
You've been posting it on Facebook.
Yes.
I've seen it. Yes.
Instagram, TikTok, Twitter.
All of it. Well, good. I hope we get all of New York there.
Yeah, we have a lot of support. I'm getting letters from the Port Authority. I'm getting letters from people that just want to show their support that we're doing the right thing. And look, out of 93,000 people, I can count on one hand how many people gave me negative reviews. And those are probably just trolls.
2 for me.
Yeah. So
When you say negative reviews on what?
I was told I was a traitor.
They call you names, fascist, bigot, all that kind of stuff, which, I ignore it because I know that it's bullshit.
Exactly.
Well,
I mean, I have a few
Go
city
ahead. Go ahead.
city councilmen that want to come as well.
Can I just make a correction? Sorry, Peaceful Tomorrows was started in 2002, but it started getting funded in 2016. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
I just make that clear.
They started in 2002.
Yeah.
Wow, they didn't leave much time.
Yeah.
Well, I think it started out as like a grieving group.
Huh. Okay. Well, Soros, that's his thing, that he funds
I don't
everything.
Everything
He is everything to destroy America.
I don't even know who he is. So
He's an evil person. He's
So what
Very
are
evil.
people?
Holocaust survivor actually as well.
A what?
that's
Survivor?
ironic.
What
He
you
was,
say?
he was alive during the Holocaust as well.
Yes, I know. And so that's how I think I've kind of come up with a theory about that. During the Holocaust, and it's interesting that he survived, when so many people, but I think that he was so affected by all the people dying and by his fear of being killed, that he decided that he wanted to have a lot of power when he grew up. And he made $1 gazillion, and he is using this to, to destroy America. But I mean, I think that the key here is power, wanting to be in control of his destiny, because he wasn't in control of his destiny during the Holocaust.
Yep.
We just don't want the mayor to come, honestly. Like Scott Lebedo put it great when he put it in Skywriting, like Mamdani, stay away from Ground Zero. Like, I don't understand what he doesn't get. It's like, dude, we don't want you there. We've tried to tell you personally, you didn't listen. Giovanni had to create a petition. We've had to go to the media. I don't know what this guy doesn't get at this point. I don't know if we have to use sign language, Morse code, or carrier pigeon. I don't know how else we could say it. Like, we don't want you there. Seriously, I just don't understand.
And Braille.
What did you braille yet? Well, I mean, first
Sorry,
of all,
that's what I missed. Sorry.
first he loves being. Well, first of all, he wants to be the center of attention, but he loves doing it one way or the other. Like when he didn't come to the Israeli parade, he got attention by not attending, And here he's going to get attention by attending at Ground Zero, or so he thinks. But I can't, I mean, I just can't imagine if he started walking in towards Ground Zero, wouldn't people just start, physically pushing him out?
No, we're not advocating. We're not advocating anything like that.
You didn't say. You're not saying it. I'm saying it.
Nah, man. I would ignore him. I just don't like, my dad died. I just don't want you there. Like, you associate with those who said that our loved ones deserve to die, justified the murder, and minimalized it. We don't want you there. I don't want people that, it doesn't even matter if he said it. He associates with those, like I said, professionally, personally, and politically. I don't want you there. We have a big group. 93,000 people have a thing. Like, what don't you understand? Like, I don't know.
He doesn't want to understand. He's not going to understand with 193,000. He's going to do what he thinks he has the right to do. I'm not like necessarily asking people to start a brawl or whatever.
I just ignore him.
But I do think that people's emotions are going to be very high. They're usually high on that day. They're going to be especially high on the 25th anniversary. And I think if it were my parent, I think I would be inclined to try to physically keep him out. Again, this is not you. This is not connected to you. None of you are saying this or haven't so far. But I think this will happen. Just psychologically, I think this is what's going to happen.
Obviously, from people on the outside, because that day, the only people that can enter are people that lost. Not everyone can come in. So just in the facts alone of the people being there and the ceremony being for the loved ones of who died, who got killed. And if I say to you, I don't want you at my wife's funeral, you should be a bigger person and stay away, no matter who you think you are, or if you knew her or you didn't know her. Point being is stay away from what we asked for. If we wanted you there, we would say we didn't care. But obviously it affects us all from someone that kind of feels different than we do on the deaths and the tragedy that happened that day. You might think, when I say you, I don't mean you, I mean him. And I don't say his name because I don't even want to give him that power of saying his name. He's just the mayor of New York to me. That's it. He's lucky he has that title.
I just don't understand why he was invited to the, like I said in the post, someone's one of the 93 members, February 26, 1993, when 6 people died. Someone's nephew did an interview with the Post, and they said he was invited, but he didn't come. So you go where you don't go where you're invited, but you go where you're not invited. I just don't understand
that's who he is. He's just trying to show his power and trying to, it's his true
It's soul.
His true soul is just showing through. That's all.
Yeah.
Now let's we don't have a lot of time left, but I want to ask you just kind of quickly, have you been involved or what do you know about, the people died, not just the 3,000 in the Twin Towers and the people at the Pentagon and the people in Pennsylvania on the field.
It wasn't 3,000, it was 2,977.
Approximately. I know, approximately.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, you're talking about the people that died from cancer that helped.
Yes, exactly. There are more people who died from working at the grounds than people who died in the building.
Yeah, and it's a tragedy that it's happening till this day. Obviously, there are a lot of firefighters and police officers that were there that day that were helping around on the site at the moment, and whoever else, the military. Obviously, we feel terrible that this is happening to people just for doing, they're doing their job. They're helping clean up whatever it was.
They said the air was safe.
Yeah, but they're not going to say. That's a different story. It's a terrible thing. Obviously, we don't want to add on to more tragic deaths that have happened since that day.
They deserve health care.
Yes, it is true that people are still dying. People their cancers are developing later and so on. Yeah. Well, okay. I want to make sure we have time to give the people all the websites that they should go to. Now, I just want to clarify with change.org, the 9/11 ceremony. You mean it like 9/11, right?
No,
No, no, it's
911.
It was 9/11. Ah,
It's just a slash before 9/11.
yeah. Okay. Okay. I wanted to double check
But
that.
I'm sure that your audience will find it. I mean, there's 3-4 petitions to keep the mayor away. The other ones I was trying to get in touch with the people that did start it. I mean, they're very small. I don't know if they're still continuing. I would love for them to join ours because
Yeah.
you know, we happen to be at the 93,000 mark, and you know, mine has a picture of the fountain of the waterfall there.
Uh-huh.
The other ones have different photos on it, and it'll say 93,000 plus on
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So let me just read, and the same thing goes for your email address. Okay, so let me say it again. Change.org/911 ceremony to
That's
sign
it.
the petition. I signed it. Get
Thank
your
you.
friends and family to sign it. Be in the street and get more people, because it's gonna be the more people there are, the more embarrassing it is for Mamdani.
You can actually download the QR code on your phone, and just take a screenshot of it and show people and say, hey, sign this petition to keep Mamdani away from ground zero.
Okay.
And that would be great. That's what I've actually been doing. I work in downtown Manhattan as well.
Uh-huh. Okay, and then your email address is WTC1-911-911-01 at AOL.com. And I would like to give out my terrorist therapist website. You can find the music videos from the last 5 years, and then I'm going to be putting up the new one, not only on the website, but of course on the mobile truck that's going to be going all around Manhattan. Okay, let me thank my guests. You know, what you're doing is amazing. Giovanni Galante, Walter Matsuka, and Jeanette Puccio-Pick. Thank you, not only for being on the show, but for all the work that you've been doing. And I hope that you won't stop, whether Mamdani comes or not. I hope that you won't stop, you know, because this is super important work. I'm not stopping. I'm going to stop when I die. That's it. I believe in this stuff.
But we don't want that to happen.
No.
Thank you for having us.
I'm not
It's been a
planning
pleasure meeting you.
Same here.
Thank
Not
you
planning
so
on
much.
dying soon. I'm just saying that I'm going to do this
Okay.
as long as I can.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for keeping up the fight.
Thank you for keeping us never forgetting.
Yes, exactly.
Never forget.
All right. And thank you all for listening. You've been listening to Dr. Carol's Couch, and I'm a psychiatrist host,